Hi, this is Louise and this is Autie Talk. Today I'm going to be talking about friendship. Friendship is a very important thing for everybody. Very few people don't want any friends. Certainly people on the autistic spectrum want friends. Don't be fooled into believing that they don't at all. They may seem a little bit aloof or they may seem a bit of a loner, but certainly most people want friendship. And it can be even more important for someone who's got social and communication difficulties because they need a little bit more help and you can end up feeling more lonely. I've certainly definitely felt like that myself. So I'm just going to talk about why there might be some problems around friendship and some of the things that could be helpful or not, as the case may be. There are different types of friends and every relationship with a friend is different, but it depends on how close that person is to you. Let me give you an example. Let's take Facebook as an example. Now, young people have around 200 Facebook friends, but when they've been asked recently, they said that probably about 2 of those people they could actually rely on, which sounds a little bit sad in a way, but really is what it probably is like for most people. Facebook, you have a lot of acquaintances on there, you have people that you're friends with, and then you have people who you are very close friends with. And those are the people that know you for who you are, the people that you could ring up at 3 in the morning and ask for help. They're very few and far between, and that is perfectly normal. Now, for people on the autistic spectrum, you can often find that they might not have as many friends. They might have a couple of really close friends that they have, or they might have lots of friends, but they're not very close. They're more acquaintances. So we look at acquaintances. Acquaintances are people that you might know at work. There might be a shopkeeper or the Avon lady that you know, someone that you say hello to on the bus. That's an acquaintance. A close friend is someone that you trust, someone that knows you for who you are, someone that you can be more intimate with, someone that you would trust. And friendship fits right in the middle of that spectrum. So friendship can be people that you go to the gym with, people that you go out drinking with, people that help you move from your house. And it's very transitory friendship. You can have friends that you've had for years, and you can have friends that come and go depending on where you are in your life and who that you get on with and what hobbies you have, that sort of thing. So that is the scale, how well you know somebody. And I think the reason that people on the autistic spectrum have either lots of acquaintances or a couple of close friends are the difference in the relationship as it moves along that set of people. So when you've got an acquaintance, it's very clear how you're meant to behave when you're an acquaintance. You're smiley and friendly and helpful, and it's really clear the relationship that you're having with that person. As the person moves to becoming a bit more of a friend, it becomes a little bit more tricky to manage. They might start joking and being more sarcastic and familiar with you. And if you're on the autistic spectrum, that might be hard to judge. I find myself being too jokey and too sarcastic, so much so that I take it too far and upset somebody. But you could be too aloof and not jokey and not joining in, and that can spoil the friendship in a way. An acquaintance wouldn't necessarily find that a problem, but a friend would start to think that you weren't joining in. A friend could also start to put on you a little bit. And if you're on the spectrum, you might become a little bit passive and let them do that and not be able to say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't agree with this. And it can open you up to being bullied or hurt by the person or put on. It could also open you up to being abused by people when you haven't got those same boundaries in place. And then you get to the close friends. The great thing about close friends are, even if there's a mistake that you've made or there's a bit of a rocky relationship, they know you fundamentally and you can always have a conversation with them about what's going on. Or you could instruct them on how you need them to be. They might know you're on the autistic spectrum and be able to make allowances for that. So that's why I think that many people who are on the spectrum find it easier to have acquaintances, maybe a few, maybe lots of, close friends, a couple of those, but it's the friendship in the middle that is the most tricky part, and I certainly find that. There's a lot of maintenance involved with friends as well, particularly in that middle section. Friends need socialising, regular meetups, ringing them on the phone. My worst thing is sending people birthday cards and Christmas cards. It's too much organising for me. I just find it so difficult. And these are problems that you have on the spectrum. You might not feel like going out because clubbing for you is loud and noisy and uncomfortable. You might not go out to enough places to bring on the friendship and get to know people better, going down the pub after work, that sort of thing, to get the friendship moving. So that is a bit of a difficult part with friendship. Also, you might not be able to do things like send cards to people and do things that are socially acceptable. So if you're not socialising enough, if you're not ringing them enough, again, the phone can be a nightmare when you're on the spectrum to work out when to answer, when to ring, and work out all the nuances with that. So if you're not ringing people regularly or sending them messages or going out drinking with them or going to the gym or whatever it is they happen to do, then that can be problematic. So what might happen is you might end up either being too needy of friendship and moving someone who's an acquaintance too quickly to a close friend and then end up in all kinds of problems with them, maybe not being the person that you thought they would be. Or what you also can do is not give that acquaintance enough, so that you're not seeing them enough and you're not being with them and doing things with them enough. So they're not moving across the friendship into friendship or even out the other side into that very close friendship. So these are some of the sticky things around friendships. If you are very boundaried around friends, then it's a lot clearer and easier to get on with people. The other thing that's really important to note is that you might end up clinging to friends even when the relationship isn't working anymore, because for you it took so much effort getting to know the person, and change can be difficult to let that person then go and move on. You've got to remember that friends have different levels of friendship. Some people do move on, and it's so hard when you're on the spectrum to say, oh, that friendship has ended now. You're not as transitory. The good thing is that there are many people on the autistic spectrum who are diagnosed and not diagnosed. So you can find yourself a group of friends, a group of like-minded people that you can get to know. And it's a case of finding those types of people. Also, you've got the other end of the spectrum, which is people who are very neurotypical, but they are friendly, they overcompensate for people who are shy or a little bit awkward, and they can almost put you under their wing and look after you. So there's lots of different types of friendship that you can have, particularly if you meet people who are similar to you. They might be on the spectrum and not diagnosed. They might be on the spectrum and diagnosed. Or they might be people who are straightforward, who have more of the sort of autistic tendencies of being very straightforward, tell you like it is, and that can be helpful when you're on the spectrum. Or you could meet someone who's very motherly, very neurotypical, they're very social, and they can compensate or even just help guide you on how to be more social. So my guidance for you, whether you're on the autistic spectrum or you're not, is to just think people want friends. I think it's really important to be kind to people, to smile, to be a pleasant person, first of all. But also, if you are at work and you see someone who's a bit on their own and you feel strong enough to be more social, try and bring them in a little bit more. When I was talking about parties with you another time, I was trying to encourage people to not leave people on their own. People want to be friendly, they want to interact. Believe you me, they'll make it very clear if they don't. Some people don't, but it's not generally people on the autistic spectrum. They do want to be involved, it's just they don't know how to do it. So I think the friendliest thing to do is to be friendly and see if you can reach out a hand of friendship to people. And you never know, you might meet a new friend.